Okay, so we're back. I'm going to continue just writing this HTML document. We're just going to create a simple body. And we're going to give it header 1 level text. And then we're just going to go I can't type. Okay. So that's good enough for now. We're going to copy this and we're going to paste it. We can also save this file and then upload it onto our server. But it's easier just to create a new file and then copy and paste it. And then we're going to name that file index, like I said before. We want to name it index because we want it to be the very first file that's run, HTML. Because this is a PHP server, if we had named this index.php, it would have also been the first file that ran also. It would have been, in fact, yeah. So index, because it's a PHP server, just by virtue of being named index, the server automatically is able to interpret PHP, so it would just run. It's interesting actually to think about what would run first if you had an index.php or index.html. I think it would run the index.html first. But anyway, as long as it's named index, it's going to run right away. And because this is a PHP server, it can read PHP files, PHP script. We could have left it as index.html as well, PHP as well. So we'll just call it that. And if we go ahead now and refresh our server, or actually let's open it in a new window just to emphasize this. So if we open it in Firefox, or if we just refresh it in Firefox, it's going to load the default file that's on there. There it is. So, yeah. So, there's our first HTML document. Now we're going to go ahead and install Jupyter. So, really quickly, yeah, I think I already went over this. Yeah. So we're going to install Jupyter. So, okay. So now we've got to do some Linux command line. I don't want to get too much into explaining these commands, but I will go ahead and explain a little bit. It's very important that you become familiar with Linux command line in order to understand what I'm going to be doing. LS again stands for list the current contents of the contents of the current working directory. So we want to find out some basic information about this Linux system. So who am I gives back the type of Linux system it is, which is it's an Ubuntu Linux system. There are different types of Linux systems. Ubuntu is just one variant of Linux. So who am I gives you the Linux type of Linux systems it is. Uname dot if I can gives you the kernel version, and then if you do uname dot a, it gives you all the information about the current system you're running, or at least basic info. This is a Linux system. This is actually the host name, just this portion right here. So if I were to type uname dot, I believe n, yeah, that's the host name. So a host name is, if you have a computer on your network or if you have a printer on your network, the printer is going to have a host name. If it's an HP printer, it's going to be HP something, and then your computer is going to have it's a different host name. So this is the host name of this particular server on whatever system, whatever network, all of these servers are connected to. So this indicates, right, that we have there are around 5 million different devices connected to this. If these are named numerically, that would suggest there's around 5 million of them. So that's a lot. So, that gives you the host name, and, another command that's really important is, cat stands for concatenate. Process, after concatenate, we're going to join together, contents of the process file with contents of the CPU info file, and then that's going to give us a lot of information about the computer, about the CPU. So we're just going to really quickly. This tells us the CPU is an Intel CPU. It's a Xenon, It has 2.3 gigahertz of the rate of or the what is this? The speed, of the CPU is 2.3 gigahertz. Yeah, there's a lot of info here. A lot of it I'm not even extremely familiar with myself. So, it's a 64-bit system. So, and this gives you the list of all the cores. From here, what's important to take note of is really the CPU speed. If it's a slow CPU, then you sort of have an idea of what you can or you cannot do on the system, what you can or you cannot install, and the number of the system, whether it's 64 bits or not. But you can get that other ways. But I just want to show you can get some basic info about the CPU here. The number of cores is actually important too. So we have 4 cores. That means this is a pretty fast CPU. If you're running certain virtual machines, it's important to know how many cores you actually have, because each virtual machine is going to might take up a separate core. So, without getting too much into that, I just wanted to show that that's what you want to get some basic information about your system with that command, and that'll let you know whether or not you can actually install a Jupyter notebook. In fact, this has very limited RAM, or not RAM, hard disk space. We only have 5 gigs, so that's going to limit the kind of the version of Anaconda we're going to be able to install. We're going to have to install Miniconda, because the full-blown Anaconda is kind of a large file. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to wget goes to the internet and retrieves the contents of this. If this is a file, it'll go and retrieve the contents here. So okay. And this is kind of well, I'm just a slow typer. So there it goes. It's retrieved it, and if we ls, we see that it's right there. In order to open this file, different Linux systems have different ways of running script file. This is any file that has a .sh extension is a script, a shell script. sh stands for shell. So different systems allow us to execute these in different ways. Some systems will allow us to just sh and then type the name of the file. So sh miniconda and this isn't going to work in this particular system. Yeah, it's not going to work. But in other operating systems, it would work. For this particular Linux install, we have to actually initialize the bash shell. I don't want to go too much in depth of why that is. Some Linux operating systems require you to actually initiate bash. And then notice, I don't know if you paid attention. I actually didn't do that previously. But previously, before you initialize the bash, all your previous bash commands you can access by scrolling up or pushing the up arrow or down arrow. Now, if I push the up and down arrow, nothing happens. This is a new bash shell that we're running with. So we can run the script now by just let's do it the fast way. Let's just scroll. Oh yeah, actually we can't do that fast. So and we're gonna have to type this out. And it's okay. It's kind of slow. Maybe it's because I'm running. I'm recording it while I'm doing this. So let's be patient and wait for it to. Or let me just pause this really quickly. Okay. So I just restarted the server. I wonder if it's. I'm not sure if it's slowing down. Maybe because I'm. This is like my 10th server that I'm starting up. But so if you type bash and then wget and then the name, this address, and then you hit enter. Oh, we already have this. So we want to type bash and then just the name of the file itself. So let's do that again. We just want the name of the file. So there it goes. And then we just push enter, and then we follow the prompts, just like installing, sort of like installing typical file. And then, so it's asking us what location we want to install it into. We want to go ahead and leave it in that location, home Ubuntu Miniconda 2. No, this is asking us, do we want the installer to prepend Miniconda 2 installation location to the path? Yes. That's just going to allow us to very easily, without having to be in that directory, we can execute applications if it's going to let us type anything. I may have to pause. Okay. So, looks like it accepted our yes. Okay. Looks like everything went well. So, at this point, we want to go ahead and export our. So this is a complicated step. We want to be able to use commands directly. So we want to export the path of Miniconda to sort of to the Linux, the general bash path. So we want to use this command, yeah, this is an important step. I mean, you could directly go into that directory by just really quickly. CD is what allows you to CD ... allows you to go backwards into the previous directory, and then CD workspace is where we were at previously. Will take you into the current workspace. So we can CD into whatever location Miniconda is at, and then run commands, Miniconda commands from that workspace, or we can just export it to allow us that path and allow us to use it anywhere. So that's an important step. We want to check if that worked by typing conda. It's not found, so that didn't work. Maybe because we use Miniconda instead of Miniconda 2. So let's do that export path part again. Let's actually, this is a good learning experience, I guess. So let's try and find out where it actually is. Okay. It looks like it's in Ubuntu. So if we type find name, yeah, usually syntax varies from system to system, but usually file dash name. Okay, then just find dash name. Okay, there it is. Find dash name, and then if we type Miniconda, it's going to give us the it's supposed to give us the full path. That's fine. That's fine. Actually, we know the full path. I don't want to spend too much time just fiddling. So let's go into Miniconda, and we want the bin. Bin stands for binary. So these are all the binary files that we can execute here. So see, conda is here. Conda is sort of like the package manager. So we can directly access conda, execute conda this from here. So if we type conda, it should actually have found it because we're in that folder. So let me try that again. Interesting. Maybe if we do this. Okay. For whatever reason, we had to reinitialize the bash. Maybe because we exported the path to it, and we need to reinitialize the bash for that change to take effect. So now when we type in conda, we're able to see the contents of we're able to actually use the conda command. So at this point, the video is ran. This part is going to take quite a while. It's the installation process. There are a lot of steps. So we'll stop here and we'll continue later on.